This is going to be a rescue detail. This Camaro came in with a lot of issues. Can we fix it? Let's find out. So this Camaro's in the shop for a paint enhancement, and we're going to try to fix this paint. It is in horrible shape. Can we do anything about it? We'll see. Now, this is an important video because how do you communicate to the customer that this may not come out the way that they are expecting? You have to set expectations. I want to talk about that in this video. So let's wash it, let's decon it, let's pull it in and inspect it and see what we can do. Also, something to mention, which is kind of difficult to show on camera, is the fabric top here has a sticky residue on it. And actually, it's from an over-application of a protectant that was put on it almost every time it was washed. So because of that, it created this sticky residue, and every time it rains, it runs down onto the glass. Now, the customer has been washing it and scrubbing it each time to try to reduce that residue, and eventually it will all come off and it'll stop doing that, but it's a problem, it's an issue. So we're gonna scrub it. We're gonna at least show you how to clean fabric tops like this. As far as protection, we're not gonna put anything back on it, but we are going to clean it. These products are home brewed in Brazil, and they offer a variety of different cleaners, polishes, waxes, and sealants. So as usual, we start with our pre-wash process. If you want to learn more about that, check out the card in the corner. Now, when it comes to cleaning the fabric top, this one is not specifically dirty, but it has an over-application of protectant, and each time it rains, this residue from the over-application will run down onto the glass, creating this nasty, sticky, smudgy residue. So we need to remove that off the glass, but we also need to scrub this top down and remove as much of that residue as possible. But again, this is actually how you clean fabric tops. Now for the solution, we're not using anything specific, simply super clean, diluted 1 to 10. And as you can see, as we're scrubbing, the foam really isn't turning brown, so it's not necessarily dirty, but we're trying to remove that over-application of residue. So the paint does feel a little gritty, so what we're going to use is the Workstuff clay mitt and their clay bar. Here's a tip for using any clay bar. Use a little measuring cup and fill it with hot water, as hot as you can get it from the tap. This is going to make the clay bar nice and soft and malleable. This makes it easier to use. Now when it comes to brushing the emblems, I'm actually using a water spot remover. I've noticed in our area that a lot of the vehicles are getting water spots, whether it's from new construction and the water that's being piped in, or their well water. Whatever the case, we deal with a lot of water spots, and those water spots get into these emblems. So you can use an APC, you can use an iron remover, or in this case, we're using a strong water spot remover. Moving on to the wheels, they really weren't too bad, so we're using a non-acid wheel cleaner, and we're using Super Clean in the aerosol can for the tires. Now after a thorough cleaning, I'm using the Purist hydrophobic shampoo to add some protection onto the wheels. Now there's different products you could use to spray on and rinse off to protect your wheels. this is simply another option. You can spray it into your mitt, agitate the wheel, rinse it off, and you have strong hydrophobics. The vehicle is nice and clean, so now we're going to dry it. We do our best to blow dry and towel dry all the paint surfaces, as well as all the door jambs and the trunk lid area. Now, the trunk lid area has a lot of little areas that are tough to get into, and I also want to protect these areas, so I'm going to use HyperClean Slick. This is their ceramic detailer. So let's address the paint now. It is really, really bad. How are we going to fix this? I'll show you, or at least we'll see if we can fix this or not. Now, this was repainted, I think a few years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe less. And this is what happened. Now, these are custom paint stripes here, and they are clear coated over. And it's the black part here, or actually this whole upper part here, that started to fail, and the back area here as well. So let's address that. Let's see what we can do. The rest of the paint is going to receive a paint enhancement. We're going to focus on this and really try to get this out. We might actually have to wet sand. Definitely have to do multiple steps here on this. Now, what happens if this doesn't come out? Well, we've already communicated with the customer. We let them know this may or may not come out. We gave them 2 different prices. So if it does come out, if we do a test spot and it's looking good, it's going to be one price, the higher price. If it doesn't, we stop, we tell them we can't go any further, we can't do this, and we will not charge them the full price. So we're going to do a test spot and see if we can get that out. So communicate well with your customer. Don't think that you can just attack this, fix it 100%, because it may not work. It may not come out. At least this is what we do in our business. We're going to tread carefully. And I saw a comment on one of the Instagram posts that I did a while back, and basically what I thought the person said, because they never responded when I asked the question, was it seems like they will take the risk to do an amazing job for the customer. That is not what we do, and I do not recommend that. You don't risk something like that, working on someone's car, where it can cost them a lot of money to have to fix if you mess it up. Not worth the risk. Not recommended. That is a hard pass. When it comes to detailing, you're trying to improve, and if you can fix it, that's a plus. But always let the customer know. This may or may not come out. Give them options, give them different prices, and work with them. Don't try to be a rock star or a superhero and try to fix everything and then end up ruining it, costing the customer more, and maybe actually losing a customer, and it could just go downhill from there. So I don't recommend that. Now, there are many different ways of attacking this. I'm sure some will say you could have wet sanded it, you could have attacked it with a rotary, and those are all true. Those are all different ways of attacking this certain situation. In this case, we used purple foamed wool and microfiber to be able to cut through that oxidation. So you choose what is best for you. But if you don't have a lot of experience wet sanding or using a rotary, then using these microfiber discs or these purple foamed wool pads with any compound will get you results. Just make sure to take your time. But remember, if it's not working, don't go any further. Yep, that's coming out great. Now you notice she's using the purple foamed wool, and I'm using a microfiber disc. They both work. Now the key to this is going slow. Now watch your heat, don't overheat the panel, and you're going to do just fine. Work in small sections at a time, small little squares, because you're concentrating your speed on these small areas, and that's what's going to cut through this dead paint, this oxidized layer of clear coat. And that's really what we're dealing with here, is this. Now, will this last? Will that finish last? We don't know. There's no way of knowing. We don't know what type of clear coat is on here, if it's a cheaper brand, how it was mixed. There's all sorts of variables here. But what we do know is that the finish is looking awesome. The customer is going to be super happy, and we're going to let the customer know to keep an eye on it and maintain it properly. When you start to see that come back, then it's a sign that it's going to keep coming back. And there's nothing you can do but continue to polish it. But don't let it get this bad. Once you start to see it cloud up just a little bit, then bring it back and we'll do a light polish and keep it at bay. Eventually, there's going to come a point where we can't do that anymore. However, it's saving them thousands, and they're spending hundreds, but they're saving thousands. That's what a detailer can do. Here's a pro tip. We're using the Tornador to blow out the pads. This is going
fluffy.
Yeah, that's going to fluff up all the fibers. It cuts better and it gets rid of that residue that's in the pad. When you're dealing with heavy oxidation like this, you're going to have to do that often because it gums up your pad. So with the process dialed in, all it took was some time to be able to cut all this oxidation and really bring out that gloss. Now remember, if you're using some of the strongest products that you have and the most aggressive pads, and it's not cutting it, it's just not getting you the results that you want, the only other option may be to stop what you're doing. And if this wasn't coming out as good as it was, then I would have stopped, called the customer, and discussed some other options. Never try to be a detailing superhero. It could actually come back to bite you. Yes, you want to save them money, you want to do an excellent job, but you also want to be honest and not cause any further damage. As a detailer, we must be humble. Learn humility, because in the detailing world, we see a lot of egos. We see a lot of, I'm the best, this is the best way of doing it, this is the only way of doing it, and honestly, those are not the people that you want to learn from. Now, is the paint perfect after all of this work? Certainly not. It was a bad paint job to begin with, and we did our best. I'm sure you'd agree it doesn't even look like the same car, and the customer was extremely happy. So let's check out the results. Oh yeah, that's how it should look. It looks incredible. Not perfect by any means. It's got a lot of defects, a lot of road rash, but the oxidation is gone. Now, oh yeah, incredible. Now we're still working on the back. Wifey just hit this area here. If you remember how it looked just like that. And now it looks like that. And we're still refining it. We're still working on this back end here. The rest of the paint really doesn't look that bad. These areas, we're really trying to make them look as good as we possibly can. But the hood was definitely the worst, especially in this area here. And looking at it now, incredible. Now, you see the glass here is kind of hazy. That needs to be polished. So we're going to polish the glass also and make sure this is looking nice and crystal clear. We'll show you how we do that. And then we're going to redo this trim here. Now, are you wondering what we're using? We're using products from vonixx. vonixx is not new to us. In fact, Blend was one of the all-in-one products that we've used for a couple of years now, and we love it. We're trying the V-cut and the V-finish, and it is incredible. The V-cut with a microfiber disc cut right through this. It took a couple of passes, and as you saw, there was a little trick that I used, leaving the residue on the paint and then just spraying your pad with a mist of DI water and then continue to cut with that residue that's on the paint still. It's just little tricks that I've learned from other detailers like Larry Casella and Buff Daddy or Kevin Brown. Those guys have, over the years, showed how to tackle certain problems. So I kind of institute some of those little tricks, even using other lines of polishes. They use Meguiar's primarily, but you can do the same thing with other polishes. A mist of water, it increases the cut and it kind of reactivates it, and you can continue cutting and polishing with it, and it does a great job. So that's what we did here, and as you can see, it really did an amazing job. So for the rest of the paint, we're using the Blend. This is an all-in-one polish. It's got a medium to fine cut on it, and it pairs well with the orange Lake Country pad. So the rest of the paint, that's what we're using, is this. So with the difficult part out of the way, we moved on to the rest of the paint, which was really not too bad. So a paint enhancement is all it needed to really bring out the gloss and minimize those swirls. Now we also got our hands on a couple of different mini polishers. Here I'm using the Flex PXE90, which I've really grown to love. There are some great features on this polisher, like the Quick Connect, easily switching from a 3-inch pad to a 1-inch pad in just a few seconds. Now I also got one from SPTA that you'll see in other videos. So at this point, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff, because you don't want to miss the other videos. So all the residue was cleaned off the glass pretty easily. But the windshield had hard water spots, and those needed to be removed because nobody likes water spots on paint or glass. So P&S Clarity Cream, a microfiber disc, and a couple of minutes of polishing cleared it up with no problems. And for the glass protection of choice, we're using AM Detail's Rain. This is basically like vonixx on steroids. It's extremely easy to apply. Simply apply it in straight line motions or in circular motions, 1 or 2 layers, and to get 3 to 4 months of extreme beating on your glass. Don't forget to clean your windshield wiper blades. Clean them and then apply a layer of this AM Rain and you'll be good to go. Now to top it off, we're using vonixx SiO2 Pro. This is a 6-month ceramic sealant. This stuff is extremely easy to use. Wipe on, wipe off, that's it. Now this is used as a dry application, not to be used with a wet application as in a drying aid. So if you guys are interested in the vonixx products, check out the links down below. You can go to Car Supplies Warehouse and purchase them there. Don't forget to use code Miranda10, you'll get 10% off. And you'll see us use more of these products throughout the coming weeks and months. So for the tires, we use this product called vonixx. It's actually a ceramic tire sealant, and we use the Work Stuff brush to apply it. Everybody has their favorite methods for applying tire dressings. What's yours? Do you like the foam applicators? Do you like microfiber? Do you like brushes? Let me know down below. Now, it would be a tragedy to let this car go looking as it does without treating the trim, and especially this windshield cowl. it is tragic looking. So let's dress it, let's make it look its best. So we're using AM trim, and I'm using a little work stuff brush here to work it into the plastics and get it into those nooks and crannies, because the windshield cowl is always one of those areas that can be annoying to get into. So using a brush like this makes things so much easier. Well, that's it, everyone. This job is done, and I'm sure you'd agree, it looks incredible. So another vehicle rescued. It didn't need to be repainted, it just needed to be properly polished. Now, is this going to stay this way for years to come? Well, it's kind of hard to say. We really don't know. But we gave the customer some great tips on how to maintain it and keep it looking its best. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others who may enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. We'll see you in the next one.